Hi everyone, welcome to day 12 of SQL learning program. So today we are going to cover view, stored procedure, function and trigger. Without wasting much time, let us go into the SQL window. Primarily I'll be giving a quick definition about what is this, and we'll talk about use cases and how you will write these triggers, functions and all. So at the same time, I don't want to go deep dive into these features because that's going to take a lot of time. I just wanted to keep it short and crisp. So we'll move on to the second. So what is view, right? I have a definition listed here. Yeah, view is a virtual table based on a SQL query that retrieves the data dynamically without storing it physically. Okay, so view is a predefined SQL statement. Keep it very simple. So as you're seeing in the screen, right, this is view. So if you are going to create any database object in SQL, you need to use create your data definition language statement. Then what object you are going to create, view, procedure or anything, right? So here I am going to create view and name of the view, and in case of view you have to use as a statement and you need to write the query. Okay, so now what is happening in reality, it creates a table that's called virtual table, not the physical table, and it's going to throw an error, right? Invalid object, because we haven't selected the right database while connecting. It's already there because I was doing this before, right? So drop is again another data definition language query, drop view, which help you to drop the view. I'm going to create the view. So this is what now, like there is no table called employee must, but it can act like a table. Select star from employee master. It gives you the 400 records from employees. However, employees has a 500 records. Clear? So now let me quickly summarize what is the purpose of view. One is like as you are seeing in the screen, right? I have only got to 400 when you did the select star from the view, but however you have 500 record in the table because of the filter. So we one use case is like you can create views by filtering some of the data, so that like you can always limit the access to this data from the external sources. Like that, if you are giving an like application access to the database, right, instead of giving access to the table, you can give access to the view, so that like whenever they write a select statement, they can only see 400 record, but in reality you had 500 records, right? So like that, one is data masking, or like filtering the data and granting only required access. Second thing is like you wanted to do a join. Here in my employee table I have department ID, but I have a requirement to show the department name. Every time I need to write a join to department ID, department table, right? So here I can write a join and use that column and store it as a view. So whenever I write the select statement in the view, I would be getting the depart name as a column. So when somebody writes a column, they believe that okay, I'm getting everything what I need. You don't need to go and write multiple joins every time to get like one or two columns. Clear? So these are the main use case, but you might find even more in web if you search, but I just wanted to keep it simple. Okay, next is on stored procedure. Yeah, let me go to the definition. Stored procedure is a pre-compiled collection. Don't get complicated with the terms. So it's a SQL statement that execute as a single unit to perform a specific task. So we have learned about variables, loops, conditional statement, all these things, right? So you can write all the code in a query window and you can keep it there. But what if you wanted to use again and again? You wanted to store it somewhere, right? And if you wanted to like let everyone who access the database wanted to use your particular logic, how do you share that? So it may not be developer. You wanted to execute a logic in your data passing a parameter. So these kind of requirement, right? If you wanted to run a set of SQL statement, a collection of SQL statements together, there is and store it into the database. When you store it to database, this is getting pre-compiled. So when I say pre-compiled in another way, right, if there is any syntax error, all these things would be taken care when you execute next time. So while creating only, it will take care of those kind of errors. That is called pre-compiled. So here, this is my simplest stored procedure creation code I have written. I can write either proc or procedure. It is same. So I kept it short. Create proc procedure name. This is the procedure name, sp get employee details, and I have an id as a parameter, which I said it should be int, and you have to use as. Then you have to have a begin and end statement. You can indentation is not mandatory, but you can do that for readability purpose. You can do many things here. Select star from departments, declare at the rate name as varchar of 100. Yeah. And I can print name. So I can do whatever I want to do. So these are not just one query, right? Like these are multiple SQL statements. So let me execute this. Okay, I did not create this before, so we didn't have this procedure before. So I created this one, so it is created successfully. If you try to create once again, same thing, right? Same error. There is already an object named sp get employee details. However, you can create this in a different schema in the same name. Okay, so uniqueness is defined in one same database, same schema, same object name. Okay. So now let me teach you how to execute this, right? So you only created the object. Now you need to execute. The command is like execute procedure name, and you have a parameter. The first one is id, right? So I can, most simplest way is like, if you know what is the position of the parameter, you can keep giving that. Click on execute. It execute all the command what was there in the stored procedure. So you had a select query to filter the employee information based on the parameter passed, that is this select, and you are selecting all the values from department table, and we also had a print one, right? Yeah, good catch. So print is coming, you know that print comes in messages, so this is what we tried to print, DSA, right? So this is the purpose of stored procedure. Like you can run multiple lines of statement. You can keep loop. You can say, okay, if at the rate id equal to 2, then only, help me, we are taking some time, but this is worth spending. Yeah, I have changed the code, right? So if I run it to create, it does not work. What we have to use? We have to use alter, right? So alter statement will help you to make changes on an existing object. So let me, so you know that you don't need this code present to execute it, but I'm doing this in the same window. So if you do 1, okay, 1 is an integer, so either you can give in single quote or not, that's not a problem here. It is giving only one result, right? But if you give 2 at the same time, it will give you 2 results, because I mentioned like if the id is 2, I need to do these activities as well. Clear? So like that you can, based on your business requirement, right? If you ask me when we have to use stored procedure, imagine that you have a business logic to be implemented, and that has to be reused. Now if you have access to this demo.db, right, you will get access to this sp get employee details stored procedure, and you can execute it. The scenario is like you have a web application you wanted to execute, or you have an application that wanted, or you have a package that wanted to run a set of statements, right? So the place where you can store that is inside stored procedure, and the stored procedure will help you to store and reuse the code every time. You can use parameters. We only talked about input parameter, but we also have output parameter, as well as like this result statement what is coming out can also be read by applications as data asset, and will be able to read it. You make use of it. So hope stored procedure is clear. On the upcoming exercise and all, we are going to get more hands-on on the stored procedure. So third one is function. So we know what function is. So function is a set of statement which is similar to stored procedure, but function is being used inside select statement, because your isNull is a function, right? Where's my code? SP get employee. Okay, this is the, yeah. So create function name. You know why this create function came in. So function would always return a value, unlike stored procedure. So if you Google the differences, this is one of it. So we need to mention like what it is returning. So I am saying like it returns a varchar value. So what it is going to return? It is going to return the name of an employee based on the ID as an input. Okay. Now let me create this function for you. Okay, it didn't exist. Then how we would execute a function, right? We cannot use execute function. You need to use select and dbo dot function and fun execute. So when you pass the ID 1, Shannon Long is the name. If you pass it to Calving is the name. So you might be thinking, okay, this is the same thing I can like implement that in a stored procedure, then why do we need function? So this is the one major thing which you need to understand. A function, a stored procedure are executed in using execute command, and that help you to do insert, update, delete operations and set of queries and everything. But in terms of function, functions are used inside a select statement in most of the cases. Well, like it's isNull, right? You are using isNull function. isNull is a system defined function, and you are writing a similar function. You can write multi-line statement, like you can do something, but you will not be able to do DML operation. That sets like insert, update, delete cannot be possible to do that in function, because functions are not like defined for that. The purpose of function is to do some basic calculation and return back a result in your query, right? So I have just written this select, but let me show select star from employee. Okay, I can instead of passing, you know, that this is employee ID. If I run this code, sorry, what was the table name? Employees, right? Yeah, so this first column Shannon Long, right? This is coming from my function. So same, I could have written a function to get the department name. Then you can avoid the join, and you can use the function to pass that department ID to get your department name, right? So functions are used in select queries. Unlike stored procedure are execute commands that help you to do like operations like DML, DDL as well. Keep this in mind. This is something which you have to understand, and in the interest of time, I am not going deep into the type, like not going to write all the functions, but I can show you going to the same place, right? Okay, programmability. We covered the system functions earlier, but we have a user defined function where like we have scalar, and scalar valued is nothing but what you have seen, which return one value. table valued is something which returns all the value. One example for table valued, you already know, string split. String split is an example for system defined this is an example for system defined or system functions with a table valued output. So when you can also write the similar function and your return would be a table. So in that case you will be writing the queries like this, like select star from the function, or you can, like, instead of this table name you can give this table, so that like it will print same way, right? So this is, and you can also define, here we have only one column value, but you can have multiple columns there. So that is about function. And we have the last one, trigger. So yeah, just we haven't read the function definition. A reusable SQL code block that returns single or a table that can be used within the queries. So keep this in mind, within the queries. So now the last one is trigger. Trigger, now if you have to do anything on a stored procedure, you need to execute that, right? However you have the code. And function, you have to use it in a code. So trigger are a special type of stored procedure you can call, or special type of block of code that automatically execute or automatically triggers. That is how the trigger word, right? Triggers when there is an event occur. Like you wanted to notify somebody if there is any insert, update, delete, any of this operation happening on a table. You wanted to notify it, or you wanted to log like who did insert into my this table, right? So you cannot do stored procedures because you will never know when this person is doing that activity, correct? So the only way which you can store that information is like you need to have some set of statement that has to be executed when you have that particular event happening. So trigger plays that role to like execute a set of statement when there is an action happen. So triggers are generally written based on an event where like either insert, update, delete, log on, all these activities. There are like database level, server level, all these levels of triggers are there. And we'll do example in a different session, given that this is going to be a long video. So we will be talking about trigger in a separate session, and we'll also have hands-on. But understand that triggers are being used to like start an event based on an action. So I'll summarize this video with all these things when you can use view, when you wanted to like write a set of query and that can be reused. It's a single query. Okay. Stored procedures are used like you wanted to run multiple lines of statement, or you wanted to run same statement multiple times in the server by passing parameters. Functions are you wanted to implement a business logic, you wanted to implement a condition that need to be returned inside a query. Maybe the result is part of a column or additional column in your selector. However, you need to use function. And triggers are being used when you wanted to trigger or execute an event automatically when there is an action happen in the SQL Server, right? There are specific use cases. Often people get confused between stored procedure and function, and as well as with triggers. So keep these options, which like reasons which I have mentioned when to use what, so that like when you start writing your SQL code, you would be able to use the right SQL object to accomplish your requirement. So with that, I am winding up today's sessions. Hope this is help you to understand the difference between view, stored procedure, functions, and trigger. We will see you on the next video. Until then, have a good rest of the time.